One man dead, another in critical condition after a shooting at a funeral in Baltimore County.
Have you ever heard of something like this?
I cannot say that I ever have.
Now, we went out there and talked to the family. What they could possibly tell us is unbelievable. Abby Isaacs is out there with what happened at this funeral today and family reaction. Abby?
Well, family members tell me they were saying their final goodbyes to a loved one who was killed by gun violence in Baltimore when shots rang out and they ran for their lives.
Who goes to a funeral and shoots somebody? That's crazy.
A family and community in disbelief.
The family, poor family right there, they're crying and see all these things happen again.
It happened just after noon today. Police say the funeral procession had just arrived at Mount Zion Cemetery in Lansdowne. The service was about to begin when one or two people attending the funeral started shooting.
We believe that they were shooting at each other.
2 men were shot. One has died and the other is in critical condition.
One of our jobs is to determine, is a victim also a suspect? And so that will be an avenue that we pursue.
People started running, including the suspects. An auto shop across the street caught the chaos on camera.
Pop, 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 like.
One worker says he heard 8 or 9 shots.
Then I was standing on the lift. Then I start hear people and I start see people running. Then I see 3 guys running that way.
Family members, shocked and grieving, did not want to talk on camera, but say they were saying goodbye to loved one Marcus Brown, an 18-year-old who was shot and killed in Baltimore on August 25th. His casket still unburied.
Somebody passed away and that family's grieving and now they have something else going on at the same time. And you never know what to expect nowadays. It's scary. You can't even go to a funeral and be safe.
Area schools were put on lockdown, but they have since been dismissed. Police don't believe there's any threat to the public. They believe this was a targeted shooting. Now, police still on scene investigating. Some family just sitting and watching. Just really a heartbreaking scene. Live in Lansdowne, Abby Isaacs, WMAR 2 News.
It's unbelievable, everybody. It's without words. For the latest in breaking news, no matter where you are, download our WMAR 2 News app, and we'll send alerts like this one right to your phone. All right, Hurricane Florence moves south and lessening the blow that we may see here in Maryland.
We're still under a state of emergency, though, and our Maryland's most accurate weather team is working for you tonight. Mike Taylor, is there a possibility that Florence could maybe change direction? Again, Eric Taylor also standing by with the latest.
I always say when we're talking about the weather, there's always a possibility, but at least we have consistency right now. And it's actually still approaching the East Coast, less than 200 miles away at this point, even around the outer limits or outer spiral bands of this hurricane. Now down to around a Category 3, but I have a feeling it's going to be able to re-intensify to a 4 before it weakens again once it collides with a ridge of high pressure that's built up, that's playing some defense, protecting us for now. As far as the track goes, it is still expected to get really close towards the coast by Thursday afternoon, but mainly landfall is going to take place Friday, and also notice how it is going to hug the coast a little bit. That's a worst case scenario for rainfall at this point. And just putting this in perspective as far as how much rain could fall along the coast, some locations anywhere from 18 to 24 inches of rain. I almost said snow there because these numbers are going to be like a snowfall forecast. And look, local reports of 40 inches are possible and definitely not out of the question. And that's just the local impacts for the Carolinas. You'll notice we'll have a little bit of rain to deal with that's showing up on this model, but for the most part, that's going to be due to some showers and also some thunderstorms in the forecast. And for more on that, we'll send it over to meteorologist Eric Taylor.
Yeah, Mike, we continue to actually see some of those puffy clouds behind me here in Bel Air right now. And we had a few showers and thunderstorms that we were dealing with really throughout the day today. But overall, we've been relatively dry in and around the Baltimore metro area, and it should kind of remain that way over the next several days ahead. We'll be dealing with just small chances for showers and thunderstorms, really no washouts expected. One issue, though, that we will continue to contend with as the week rolls on, with Florence coming ashore down in the Carolinas, is this coastal flood advisory across portions of Harford County as well as down into portions of Anne Arundel County. These will likely be extended with time as we notice those higher than normal tides there in the Chesapeake Bay. Wind speed and direction direction generally out of the east. That keeps the high water in place down there in the bay, upwards of 5 to 10 miles per hour. Satellite and radar combined, not much, a few clouds and a couple showers and thunderstorms now popping up over towards Mount Airy as well as Eldersburg. Temperatures generally in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees. This should be the last of some of that moisture coming on through. We have a stalled stationary boundary in place. That boundary is going to wash out overnight tonight, so we'll be left over with mostly cloudy to overcast conditions, some areas of fog, and once again another muggy night ahead with temperatures hanging out in the 70s. We'll detail the track of Florence plus the latest look at your 7-day forecast and a weekend that may potentially be dry coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks a lot, Eric. Well, the clock is ticking and people are definitely running out of time to prepare or evacuate before Hurricane Florence hits.
Now, the governor in Georgia declared a state of emergency today because the storm is going further south than meteorologists thought before. There are mandatory evacuations in North and South Carolina, and some people in North Carolina say they are not worried one bit.
I'm not even worried at all. We got all the windows boarded up and got water, plenty of food, and I mean, we're just really not worried. We got a sturdy house and just faith in God that we're going to be here when it's all over.
Well, the impacts are expected to last long after the storm moves through. Storm surge and flooding, well, they're big concerns and worries.
Right now, help is on the way from all over the country, including from our state. We just learned moments ago 3 firefighters from Baltimore County are heading South Carolina. Also, 2 members of the Howard County Fire Department lending a hand. Battalion Chief Steve Hardesty and firefighter Dane Yakic are part of the Maryland Task Force 1 Urban Search and Rescue Team. Members left this morning for South Carolina to assist with the response and recovery from Hurricane Florence.
Now, while Florence may be shifting, emergency management down in Annapolis is still bracing for high waters and damage from the storm.
WMAR 2 News' Skylar Henry went to this afternoon's meeting and learned leaders from every department in the city are stocking up on resources and putting a plan into action.
Yeah, despite Hurricane Florence's latest projections, those here in Annapolis are still making sure that they're as prepared as possible should the storm make a change in direction to affect the Annapolis area. We're here at the city dock where before, during Hurricane Isabel, this entire area was flooded. And those here want to make sure that should that happen again, they're as prepared as possible.
City officials in Annapolis say the possibility of a wet remainder of the week is for the birds. Top-ranking personnel sat in on an emergency management briefing on Hurricane Florence's pending arrival.
Pretty good news for Maryland and the city of Annapolis. So that means that it's going to lessen the impact it's going to have on the city of Annapolis. However, we're not out of the woods yet.
As the latest models show Florence impacting the Carolina coastline the hardest, those in the city are still bracing for potential effects that could damage parts of the area. Mayor Gavin Buckley, part of a thorough presentation on what each agency is expected to do should the storm hit Annapolis.
We can never take this stuff for granted. We've all seen what happened with Isabel, and that is the biggest fear, I think, for most of us, what the tidal surge is going to do to the city. So obviously, we've been handing out sandbags. We're preparing for the worst, but I feel confident with you guys here that we're going to handle this the best way we can.
Which includes canceling several upcoming weekend events in the city for participant safety. Leaders say while there may be little impact, it's best to be prepared.
We still have a threat, and some of the threats may be power outages, fallen trees, wind and rain, and yes, tidal flooding.
Despite those minimal projections, those here in Annapolis say that they're hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst. Reporting here in Annapolis, I'm Skylar Henry, WMAR 2 News.
All right, we're making sure that no matter what happens this weekend, you're prepared for Hurricane Florence and future hurricanes. We've posted tons of resources you need on our website, WMAR2news.com.
Police are investigating a homicide after finding a woman's body last Monday in North Baltimore. Shauna Davis was found in the 3000 block of Independence Street, about 3 blocks away from Waverly Park. She was pronounced dead right there at the scene. An autopsy ruled her death a homicide due to multiple injuries to her body. Detectives are asking anyone watching right now if they know anything, call police right away.
3 shootings in Baltimore County overnight, all within about 7 hours. The first victim was shot last night on Solar Circle in Parkville. Investigators believe he got into an argument with the gunman. The victim is expected to be okay. And while investigating that shooting, police were called to Purnell Drive in Woodlawn. There, another argument led to a man being shot. He should be okay as well. Then at 3 o'clock this morning, someone was shot in their home during a home invasion in Towson. It happened on Thetford Road, just off of Loch Raven Boulevard. Police believe the two robbers targeted the home because of the items that they were taken. There have been no arrests in any of these shootings.
All right, next Friday is what we're told that the University System of Maryland Board of Regents are going to be briefed on the findings of the independent consultant. This is the investigation into the death of University of Maryland student athlete Jordan McNair. Now, after the briefing, those findings will be made public. So following McNair's death, the university launched an investigation led by sports medicine consultant Dr. Rod Walters. Now, Walters' review is one of two separate ongoing investigations going on, overseen by the Board of Regents. An 8-member commission has also been appointed to look into the culture of the football program at College Park.
Well, Baltimore City Health Commissioner Dr. Lena Nguyen is the new president of Planned Parenthood. Nguyen announced her new job on Twitter and Facebook this afternoon. She's been the health commissioner in Baltimore since 2015. In a statement released today, Nguyen says for the last 100 years, no organization has done more for women's health than Planned Parenthood, that she is truly honored to be named its president. Nguyen's last day with the Baltimore City Health Department will be Friday, October 12th. A nationwide search for her replacement will begin immediately. You know, they call her the heavy-hitting diva.
Yeah, she's one of the best boxers around. And WMAR 2 News' Christian Schaefer catches up with this Baltimore native as she gets ready to fight for the world title.
Plus, number 52 is in the Hall of Fame now, and he's going to be honored in Baltimore. You're watching WMAR 2 News, the station that's working for you. We have watched her come a long way, hasn't she? A local boxer has been all over the world in fights, and tomorrow night she's in Vegas, getting a chance to win a world championship.
How about that? WMAR 2 News' Christian Schaefer reports Franchon Cruz Dezern of Baltimore is more than ready for her moment to shine, and her opponent had better be ready.
It is the opportunity Baltimore's Franchon Cruz Dezern has been punching for. A shot at the WBC super middleweight title.
This is my coming out party, and I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be at the time I'm supposed to be.
Cruz Dezern has a 3-1 record as a professional. Her opponent Thursday night in Las Vegas, in a fight that will be broadcast live on ESPN, has much more experience as a pro. She's 12-2.
Well, my opponent's name is Maricela La Diva Cornejo. But I'm the real diva, the heavy-hitting diva.
Cruz Dezern was one of the most accomplished female boxers anywhere in the world before she turned pro. She's a 15-time national champion and a 5-time gold medalist at the Pan Am Games.
Women's boxing is developing at a massive rate, and I think fights like this will help push it further.
She started boxing more than 15 years ago because she thought it might help her lose weight for her singing career.
If you treat me fairly, I'll give you all my goods. Treat you like a real woman should.
After a while, she realized that all that training had led her to her true calling in the ring.
I know how to take control of my body. I stay fit. I don't abuse myself. And I just love the competitive nature of it. Like, where else can you go and punch people, get paid, and win stuff?
In training for this fight, Cruz Dezern says she has been focusing on endurance. The fight is scheduled for 10 rounds. None of her earlier fights have ever been longer than 6.
I know that I'm the superior boxer, and I'm able to take it to levels that I don't think she can take it to. And whatever she shows me, I'll have an answer for it.
Franchon Cruz Dezern is dedicating the fight tomorrow night to her mother, who died back in 2016 after a battle with kidney disease. She's working on getting her bachelor's degree in small business management and entrepreneurship. She sews her own robes and everything she wears in the ring. So what she's come up with for the title fight, she says, will be flashy enough for Las Vegas. So keep an eye on the heavy-hitting Divas entrance, which should be around 9 o'clock tomorrow night on ESPN.
That's right.
Can't wait to see that.
Knock her out.
No kidding.
Hey, if you need any inspiration talk, I know somebody. The city of Baltimore plans to celebrate number 52, Ray Lewis. The mayor says there's going to be a Hall of Fame parade on Saturday, September the 22nd. It'll start at Rash Field at the corner of Key Highway and Light Street, and the parade will wind up right there at City Hall, where the mayor and Ray will speak There will be a fan festival as well, and Ray was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame just last month in Canton, Ohio.
And now from WMAR 2 News, Maryland's most accurate forecast.
And this is an impressive storm, to say the least. Hurricane Florence from space. You can see the spiral bands, and you can also notice the convection. That's the raising of the clouds. Notice how you see some of the shadows there. That's the sunshine shining down, putting a shadow cast on the cloud cover as we look at it from space. And there's the eye. It's a very healthy storm, something we're going to be following into the coming days as it gets closer. We already have everything lit up, from tropical storm watches, hurricane watches and warnings, and they're preparing for the worst along the Carolinas and even right there in southern Virginia, near Norfolk. In fact, they have a tropical storm watch. Now, they're still currently on the fence there with the watch, and it depends on how far north the storm is going to come. But as far as the size, it's still about 300 to 30 miles wide or tall, depending on how you look at it. But there's a look at Hurricane Florence continuing to move in a western direction, and it's going to eventually reach the coast here with the outer spiral bands first, only at about 130 miles away. So by this time tomorrow, the influence of this storm will definitely be felt along the coast of North Carolina. It's a little bit weaker right now, Category 3 at this time, which is still a major hurricane. Winds at 120 miles per hour, gusts to 150, and it's going to approach. Notice that it has 385 miles southeast of Wilmington, North Carolina, and